have gotten the kind of counseling, mentoring that they got or they need while growing up. In our society today, we see a lot of women empowerment, women being given the opportunities to get empowered. But the fear is that in the next few years, we're going to have a lot of boys out there who may not have had the necessary tools or avenues to be empowered. At the Matter Inspires Foundation, we have started the Men to Boys Mentorship Program that in few weeks, we have seen great and massive improvement in our young boys. Today, we want to have a detailed conversation on the importance of men mentorship. One of our mentors at the Men to Boys Mentorship Program is here to also share with us a general perspective on why it's important to even pay attention to men empowerment and boys empowerment. I believe you all agree with me that it's important to get every single one of us empowered. Let's take a break. When we are back, we delve into the conversation. Stay tuned. Welcome back from the break. I'll be speaking with Mr. Marvin Senam Achia. He's a life coach and a mentor, and like I said earlier on, he's one of our regular mentors here at the Matter Inspires Foundation, also for the Men to Boys Mentorship Program. Mr. Marvin, welcome to the show again.
Thank you very much.
The last time we had you was when we spoke about what love means to a man.
Yes, yes, I remember that episode very well.
There's a part two loading. We'll call you back again.
Sure.
Anyways, we have been empowering our boys, Men to Boys Mentorship Program. And for the Matter Inspires Foundation, sincerely, we are so amazed about the acceptance of the program, because I wasn't really so sure. I told my team it was just for 6 weeks. But when we posted it, we saw a lot of people really accepting the idea. So now we don't even know how many weeks we are going. But being a regular mentor on the platform, first of all, why do you think it's important or necessary to mentor our boys?
All right. I think it's very important and necessary to mentor the boys, because we are training these people for a very Herculean task ahead in their lives. You know, the role of the man in society is that of a provider and a protector, which means that a man has to have the concept of leadership, has to build fortitude to not only for himself, but for the people he's going to take care of. So if such people are not equipped right from their younger days, then they grow up becoming confused. When you look around our societies, like there are a lot of broken homes, there are a lot of challenges with the family system because that gap was created. The information transfer from our fathers or forefathers to the younger generation then wasn't done, or maybe there was a gap. And then so some of us grew up without guidance. So we do what we think we should do to please ourselves. And that's a problem. So I am so enthused, like you already know about this project we are having here, where we speak to the boys and they tell us a lot of things that are fascinating. One of the boys told me that when he grows up, he wants to be a businessman. He wants to be a millionaire.
Okay.
And I asked him what he would do with all the money. And he says he would do boys empowerment. Because he has realized that we always talk about girls empowerment and all that. So I feel the boys themselves are feeling that gap. Nobody really attends to them. So it's highly important that we continue on this track or journey that we have started. Very, very important.
Okay, so far you've been engaging with the boys. Let's look at the first time you met them, and then the next time you met them, or even in general, most of our activities, you've seen some of them. Do you think there's been some bit of mind shift a bit?
Yes.
And a bit of change from they just being boys and they just being boys who have been mentored for like 2 to 3 months?
All right, so let me speak generally about Martha in Spice, especially the reading club.
Yeah.
When I came here, I realized some of the first time I joined the reading club, I realized some of the kids had a problem with pronunciations and even constructing basic sentences. Now, some months down the line, I'm interacting with them and I'm so amazed. You know, they are, even the confidence and public speaking skills, I mean, top notch. So let me give you, we are supposed to appreciate you. It's not always that you invite us here and you say all the things about us. You are doing a great job, and I think that every well-meaning person must come on board and then support, especially if you are impact or development minded. Yeah. So zooming into the boys, I've had interactions with them during our sessions, the mentor boys, and you see, most of them needed that platform.
To talk.
So all this while, there are things they've been keeping, and there are things they would have been much comfortable to speak with men or fatherly figures about. Because I remember the first day, some of the things they wanted to tell me, they kept checking the window whether you were coming around.
Because I think one thing I did that has helped it is because once I put you guys in the room, like I want to go
stay
out,
away from the room.
and
Yes,
it has helped.
Yes, and because it was like a boys session, like though I'm a father, I try to, relate to my boys. I try to pick their minds on what is happening at their level.
Trending.
Yes, so the boys interaction really gave me a lot of information. And I think that guided me, or that will guide me anytime I need to have conversations with younger men or boys on how to, become better men when they grow up. So I've seen that this project is making very meaningful strides, and also it would shape a whole generation of young guys into becoming better individuals.
True.
We didn't get it. We had to struggle, or we are still struggling. There are times we want to go off the line, but then I always say, because there's the amazing grace of God carries some of us on the right path. That's why but we're still struggling. So I think it will change a whole generation of young men to make very decisive or very well-meaning decisions, when they grow up.
There was one story you told me about when we were talking about gender and sexual-based violence. Do you think that we are not paying attention to abuse of men? Because I think I was just talking about raising the boys so that they can they don't end up abusing women and all that. But you mentioned that one boy said that in his home he'd seen the reverse.
The mother beats the father. Yes.
I like when I say abuse. Let me say it well, that the mother beats the father.
Beats the father, yes.
But it's always like the father beating the mother.
Yes, that's the story traditionally. Men have been categorized as the domestic abusers. But in reality, or I don't know the percentage, but there's also the vice versa.
Where
women are very abusive, highly abusive, physically and then verbally. But you see, men, and someone said something that, waiting man do man. Even among ourselves, imagine if I should tell a friend of mine that my wife slapped me.
You'll be like,
He's going to just laugh and be like, you slack, oh, how? Man, like you, how can you? No, he wouldn't even empathize at all. So that's what happens. A lot of men are being abused, but they can't talk about it. Why are you going to report it? I think Dovsu is meant for women.
It's for both men and
No, in
women.
fact, the courts are meant for women.
It's for both men and women, but it's like we report more than you do.
Yes, because of the stigma and the shame. You go around crying. Even as a young adult.
You can also cry and go.
You see, as young men, even when they have relationship issues, where there's a heartbreak, you know, the news is that it's men who break women's hearts. A lot of young men get heartbroken and they can't talk about it. Their friends will laugh at them. In the first place, they'll ask you, why did you fall in love to even get the heartbreak? You understand? So that's suppression of emotions, and in the future, or like fast forward, it affects men a lot. Because I know a lot of friends who have bottled or suppressed their emotions till now. So any small thing, they react like very violently. And it's because growing up, nobody gave them the opportunity to express themselves.
So because of that, once, I think there was this example you gave where I think one boy gave an instance whereby the girls are rather, I don't want to say sexually abusing them.
They are hitting on them. Let's use the Gen Z, the Gen Z terms.
The Gen Z terms.
They are hitting on them.
We would be in class and a boy will come and probably touch you or even touch your breast and you're going to report to a teacher.
Yes.
But in these days, it's not the girls who are touching the boys.
Yes. And it wasn't just one boy who actually, one boy raised the issue and like, almost all of them were like, the girls in our class. It says somebody tried to touch some place, you know, very sensitive place, my cassava. He mentioned cassava, and we laughed about it. And then the other guys were like, the girls in the class, they actually tried to seduce us. Like trying to sit on their laps and trying to hold them up, the places that are sensitive. I was like, wow. It was the other way around. What is happening? So you see, we created, I would say that we made so much noise, or we placed so much emphasis on empowering young women. Then, Atiafaso. That's how the three people say. Now, a lot of girls are very bold, confident, and all that. And now the gap is rather being created where the boys are rather lacking behind. So there's nothing wrong with keeping the women empowerment.
We should have a
let's
balance.
Let's bridge the gap a bit. Let the boys also come along, and let's look at their emotional needs especially. Yes.
Let's look at men, adults men. Do you think that some of the opportunities that you were not like privy to be empowered, or let me say with the boys now, do you think that when these things are not managed, the effects, what are some of the effects that it comes, like when they grow up, it becomes?
Very terrible. Very terrible. Especially boys who grow up without their father figures in their homes. We take it for granted. We'll be like, oh, the mother is a strong woman. She was able to raise a boy and all that. But there are things that when men come around, the storm,
True.
Yes, the storm is silenced.
True. Your father says,
and
you are quiet.
And between boys and their fathers, it's like they know there's authority.
True.
Okay. They don't really, they see too much of love in their mothers. The same love they can see in their fathers, but in a different way. Principled love, tough love, to give you survival skills in life. Okay. And fast forward, I would die to rather be trained to survive than to grow up and wondering how to manage my affairs. Okay, so if there was a father who had, you might think when you are young that he's being hard on you. Maybe there's a situation, you fell down, and it goes like you try and manage it, manage the pain, see how you can turn things around and all that. In the future, that's what will happen. As men, and it will even get worse because as men, we grow up to take up responsibilities, whether we like it or not. So it's better to be equipped. Yes, so that when we become of age, we're able to manage the expectations and everything around us.
Do you okay? Thank God you've been on that point expectation. Do you think that naturally the expectations on men are so high? You are not allowed to cry.
Yeah, okay.
You are not allowed to say you don't have money.
Yes.
You are not. There's this story I read on Facebook where the guy said that after he got married, and I think in the kitchen also they were hearing some noise. I think that later on it was their cat who were entered the kitchen and was pushing the lids up and down, and the wife woke him up. And then he was like, the wife should go. And it was like, no, that it was then he now realized that he's also now the man of the house.
Exactly.
Unlike when he was with his father, and the father was, all of you stay, let me go and check. Then, so he was like, so as he's going, if it's like armed robbery or death, like it's coming on him.
Exactly.
So men are trained or expected to be people that take risk.
Yes.
And
yes.
that can be very challenging. It doesn't allow them to be vulnerable.
Yes.
And do you think that because of that, it makes men to push that anger on anything, especially women, especially when you feel that she's the cause of your problems?
Yes. Yes. So as for the expectations, nothing can be done about it. It's a natural order, traditional masculinity. There's nothing much we can do about it. In fact, well-meaning men will play the role to their satisfaction and fulfillment. Me, I love to be put in the tight corners where family needs this, they need that. When I'm able to sort them out, when I'm sleeping, I feel like a man. Okay, so nothing will change about that. Why is there the diversion of anger? Because God gave women to us to support our dreams, our vision and all that. So whilst a man takes the hard knock life and tries to be the protector and the provider, we need that kind of support. And you see, support is not just maybe physical, it's highly emotional. So I've watched movies, I don't know whether they are movies or real life, but I've watched videos where a man is going to work or going for an interview or presentation, and the wife is able to speak some good words into his life, like go out there, make it, everything will be fine. I'm telling you, such a feeling is enough for a man to go and carry a mountain or go and carry the building on his shoulders. So for carrying the building, there's no negotiation. He has to do it. But the little support that will come will make it easier. So for expectations, there's not much that can be done. That's why I was telling the younger boys when we were having our session that, you see, there will be a lot of responsibilities on you. So you better start thinking very widely, open your mind and see how you can manage the responsibilities and still maintain your mental health. If you get a good family or good people around you who are going to support your mental health, good for you. If you do not get, you have to try and get your own system in place.
So now, apart from mental health, and then there was one component you also mentioned more about prayer, apart from they just being mentored. Do you think that most men, because we hear things like when you go to churches, women are more?
Yes. Yes.
You see more women in churches. There are some TV stations that are churches that sometimes when you actually watch it, you can actually, like, you see most women with their dukus line, that once the camera just go, you hardly even see a man there. What is happening with men and faith, men and prayer, men and God, men on spiritual authority?
Men are spiritual, very spiritual. We are supposed to be the spiritual heads of our families and all that. But we are very logical people. Okay. So before you can convince a man to, when you watch those churches, you see a lot of women, you see just a few men, and you doubt their manhood sometimes because it's Monday or Tuesday in the afternoon and you are like, what is he doing in that church? But for the women, it's just a everyday life kind of thing for them. It's not, I don't believe men do not have faith or do not believe in God. In fact, it is the first responsibility God gave men to be spiritual, to handle things in connection with Him. So it's just society and how maybe our religious bodies have grown that sort of makes men step back a bit.
Step back a bit, okay.
Yeah, because these days some of our churches expect certain things, which a man would find very difficult to do, because if we are doing like maybe a 40-day fast and prayer, and the man is the one who is a mason,
Yeah.
he has to go out there and then work hard, carry the concrete and stuff. You can imagine somebody working throughout the week, maybe 5 days, on a construction site to be fasting.
Cry, you faint.
Yes. So it's quite difficult. So men choose to rather go like, let me be realistic. You do the fasting, let me go and work and bring the money. But deep down in our hearts, we know that we need God.
Yeah.
So I personally was encouraging the young boys that, you see, get the facts right first. You can never live your life without God.
Yeah.
You can never do anything without being spiritual, because we are spiritual beings. This body is just a container.
Yeah.
So don't be fooled into thinking that, as for a man, I don't really need to pray and all that. But rather, devise a very good way of having communications with God.
Yeah.
So that even when you are not seen at the worship center almost every Sunday,
at the 40-day
fasting, you are still in touch with God.
Yeah.
Don't miss God
Yeah.
for any other thing. You can still be working and be communicating with your God. And in fact, you being the high priest of your house, your children would fall on you for protection. When they are sick and all that, it's your word that will heal them. So, when men are giving that support, maybe the church understands like our roles and the challenges. I mean, it becomes much easier for us to feel welcomed in the church.
Yeah.
But if you say, because I don't I'm not really around, so I'm sidelined, we'll stay behind the walls.
I like the components you've actually made on, because sometimes, like in churches, most times, people do not really understand certain kinds of jobs that people do.
Yeah.
I remember there was a time that some people were comparing how many days they can fast. Somebody said, me, I can go 3 days without water and food. Me, I can go 3 days without only, maybe without food, but I can be taking water. It depends on the job you are doing.
Yes.
Maybe I'll come and sit and talk from morning to evening.
Yes.
And now that the kids are on vacation, sometimes you have to run around. You can't have that kind of fasting.
Yes. Yes.
So I think that sometimes, in as much as men or even every one of us should pray and fast, God bless the works of our hands.
Yeah.
So if I'm in the room for 1 week, and for 1 week I'm fasting and praying, then reflection show will not go on.
Yes.
Foundation will not go on. But I think that my God is not a God that will judge me based on one thing.
It's not human.
Yes.
God is not human. So the human standards tell us what we are supposed to do. That is why I personally encourage people to have a very casual, friendly relationship with God.
Yeah.
So that you go to Him directly.
Yeah.
You see this, the other religious activities you need to do is personal conviction.
Yeah.
Okay, somebody can be drinking malt and eating fufu, and they bring a sick person. He lays the hands, and then the person is healed because of the level of faith.
Yeah.
And also, it's very important to note that it's not everyone who can follow a certain path. Okay, we should understand that everyone has a way they deal with God.
Doesn't, like, let me say, release the testimonies and the breakthrough. Some people sowing seeds, some people even just cleaning the church, some people just even spending 1 day reading the Bible will be enough for them. So I think that it's diverse. So I'm glad the boys understand that they can build a personal relationship with God.
Yeah.
I was watching a video yesterday on TikTok, and this prophet called out someone and said that a lot of hands have been laid on him. And one of the hands that was laid on him was a spirit of homosexuality.
Wow.
And he's been struggling. So I think that we should also be tuned in, especially with the boys who will get to a point in society expects that at 22 you should have a car.
Yeah.
At 25.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
go to every pastor and sow seeds and do everything. And that can even spiritually corrupt you.
Yes. Yes. And so because we are sort of sidelined, we do not even know the dynamics of some of the spiritual things. So the opportunity any false man of God gets on a man, he can really mess him up. Because if we don't get the training right from the start, you know how to read your Bible, you know how to go to church, and you know how to fellowship, then you would not be lost in the wilderness where somebody can take advantage of you. You understand? And also, I wanted to make a point before that we need to clarify making money or becoming successful.
Yeah.
And then being religious is not so connected. Okay.
Being religious,
a lot of people feel that, yes.
And money.
Yes. Personally, I'm not a religious person. I prefer to say I'm spiritual. Because religion is man-created. But I believe that a lot of people feel that you need to be praying and shouting a lot to get money. I mean, I believe in miracles. Maybe by shouting, maybe some millions of dollars would just enter your accounts. Yes. But we need to be realistic. Tell our boys that if you can't dirty your hands, you will not eat. Okay, so they get ready to know that I have to work. Okay, because I've met a number of very lazy young men who are church boys, very spiritual church boys. They pray a lot. They're always at the vicinity. And then when it's time to marry, they want to hide behind their pastors and marry. And as soon as they marry the young woman, they make life terrible for them. Because they don't have any skills to support this woman to bring food home. And anything that happens, okay, let's go down on our knees and pray. Yeah, you pray, God will hear you. But God says that I'm not going to give to the one who doesn't work hard. Okay, so that concept too has to be sold to our young men to know that you need to be realistic about your expectations, especially if you want to be successful. You got to work hard.
You have to.
Yes. You have to work very, very hard in order to make it. So.
And you see, I'm glad you've touched that component as well. And sometimes, can some men know that the fact that I didn't accept your proposal doesn't mean I'll regret it in future?
No, we want you to regret it.
They won't regret. The fact that I did not accept your proposal doesn't mean I'll see you in future and regret.
We like that.
No.
No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
But you see, it's
I'm talking about even the church component.
Yeah.
Some of people, sometimes our pastors talk about the fact that, when I had nothing, their wives married them and all that. You see, the men that were those times, are not these men now.
Yeah, sure.
Some men are just opportunists.
Yeah.
They just want to say, God will provide. Like he said, he's a church worker. He doesn't want to even do anything. And because you are bringing something home, he wants you to still come and gaslight you spiritually and want you to give your salary to him as a head of the home.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some too, there was this funny issue that happened when someone was like, he's into ministry. When he becomes a big one of God, I regret it. Like, I'm also into ministry. In fact, I'm even on TV before you. So when you say that I'll see you on TV and regret, you are lying. So sometimes too, my main point is purpose. The men need to understand that sometimes when a woman doesn't accept your proposal, it doesn't mean you are bad.
Yeah.
Like the example I gave you the last time, when you mix water and oil, you get a very nice awam.
Yeah.
And eat it very well.
Yeah.
But once the oil is hot and you want to pour water in it, you can imagine what is going to happen. Yeah. So sometimes you can be very good to people, maybe as friends or whatever, to cook your amamu and stuff. But marriage might not work. Yeah. Because there are certain people that once you get married to them, your purpose will die. There are some men who believe that they love you A to Z, but you should not work as their wives. Yeah. Yeah. I can't do that. So let the men understand that in as much as we are empowering them, it doesn't mean that if your woman is working, she doesn't respect you or she's taking advantage of you.
Yeah, so it goes back to the concept of men's emotions. You see, we are raised to be conquerors and to always win. When a man loses, the whole world looks at him as a joker. Okay, and that is a problem. Yeah. We need to teach the boys to understand that there are times you win, there are times you lose. Yeah. So for example, you like this young woman and you approach her and she turns you down. It's fine, there's nothing wrong with it. You can always go and get another person to talk to. Perhaps she's not your suitable support base,
Yeah.
or she's not the suitable partner. But you see, because and you know, on the streets when we're growing up, it's like it was more of your boys will give you fans if you are able to conquer this girl. So when we go and then it becomes a failure, we are afraid that maybe when we come back, the guys will laugh. The girl doesn't even like you. But you see, I was discussing value with the boys, that when you grow up into a man who understands your value and your worth, nothing really hurts you. Okay, so you go out there, somebody even disrespects you.
Yeah.
Okay, you know yourself. I know I'm Marvin, so okay, I'm Senanu. Let me use my local name. I know I'm Senanu. So like when you talk to me in a certain way, I assume that you don't know what I carry. So I assure myself that I'm a man of value. Let me just walk away from this drama. Okay, so if I go back to my younger days, I am interested in you and I say I like you and you say no, that is okay. I know my value. I know the woman who attract my value will come along eventually, so it wouldn't really hurt. But when the young men grow with that low self-esteem and no idea about their value and worth, yo, this is a beautiful woman. I need to if I get her, then I will be sent on. You see, that's how most of the guys think.
Or you get some kind of validation.
Validation, exactly.
You feel that, oh, this guy there, you have to get this guy by all means.
Exactly.
And then there's always someone suitable that God will bring on
Exactly.
you. But you know, these Gen Zs, you're looking at Charlie, is she a fine girl?
Yeah.
Is she a fine boy? And I had one pastor say that it's just for the pictures or on the wedding day.
Yeah.
When you are done, the real marriage begins. Let's take a break. When we come back, we delve into more. Stay tuned. Welcome back. We are looking at men empowerment, men mentorship, everything about men. Today we are giving the whole time to men to know that we value you, because men are always our husbands, our boyfriends, our fathers, our uncles,
Brothers,
our brothers. Yeah. Hey, you're really important to us. And they are those who break our hearts. Oh, why do you put do that?
It's very relative. Women also break men's hearts.
But you put break more and you put started it. Is it that sometimes when
women
you see
make
a girl,
the
you
most,
are not sure that
women,
you like
women make the most noise about the heartbreaks. That's why when you check the statistics, you feel that men are breaking women's hearts more. No. It's the other way around.
No, but some of you too, you see that girl like this guy, I don't like her, you lead her on and break her heart.
Yeah, that one is another topic for another day. Because we are very physical, I mean, we are led with our eyes, men. So there are times that some men actually do the wrong by picking on a woman just sexually, and then may not need her for the journey.
Or maybe later when they realize that the love wasn't.
That's why we need to always talk about prepping before starting. That's why the Christian concept of courtship. But the courtship is not sexual. Is you go on dates and all that. You talk about what you like, what you don't like. So by the end of 3 weeks, you should be able to tell that, no, this lady, I don't really like her.
Now we have something we call talking stage. We have what?
Scene,
situationship,
talking, yes, and all that.
dating. Hey,
And unfortunately, all these stages are sexual.
Yeah.
They say, oh, we are talking, but they're having sex. We are seeing each other, they're having sex. Then they move to dating before they say something, ship, something, relation. Yeah, there's a situationship. It's all, you know.
Hey, Gen Zs, are we safe? This heaven, will we go some?
We'll go by the grace of God.
Some people, when I go to heaven, I see them.
Then be ready for surprises.
Yes, some people that, you know, I was telling someone, I don't want to mention it, there's this woman that I love her audacity.
Yeah.
She was somewhere within a month after she got arrested, she became a pastor.
Oh, okay.
There's this woman in Ghana. I don't want to mention it.
Oh, okay. I think I have a fair idea.
She became a pastor.
Yeah.
After she got arrested, she organized a press conference.
Yeah.
Oh, she became a pastor.
Yeah.
She got divorced, and in 3 months, she got married.
Beautiful.
And I'm like, look, you see, I love that.
Yeah.
But her own is extreme.
No names.
Like, you can easily break up and even not even date or not
Yeah.
move on, just marry easily. Hey, this one, I love your audacity. So if you go and see this one in heaven,
No, I mean,
it's possible. They are those who give
God
their
is
life
going to
Christ
judge us by our hearts.
last minute and don't even go before you.
God will judge us by our hearts,
Yes.
so you can never tell. You know.
Yes. So now I want us to look at what fathers can do
Yeah.
to help mentor young boys,
Yeah.
to cut off that narrative of whatever they got. I believe that education have made us to become better.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to do or go through some of the things that my mom took me through.
Yeah.
I want to give my children better opportunities. So let's look at fathers. Most kids may not have mentors. Most fathers may not have even better or whoever mentors. So as a father themselves, what can a father do to help their boys become more out there?
Yeah, so like you're saying, the father is like the number one mentor to all his kids, even including the girls. Because the presence of a father is like the presence of God in the house. And so that kind of relationship opens the minds of the children to, I'm not saying women lack that skill. Some women do very well. I was raised by women, but I wouldn't want my kids to be in the hands of only the women. Yeah, they can share some time with them, but I love to have the one-on-one with them a lot, because there are things the women cannot discuss with them, like their sexuality and all that. I love to have those conversations with the boys. They open up much more because we share similar traits. Apart from my own kids, even here, when I was having conversations, the boys were comfortable to mention their genitals because I'm a guy.
Yeah.
So they were able to express themselves. So fathers, and I need to applaud our generation of dads. Okay, recently I've observed that most of like my age group men are doing quite well. You see them out there with their kids always. You see them trying to foster some relationship with their kids, and it's good.
Like go out to dates, lunch with them.
Yes, and they talk more with the kids these days. I've realized that even though if you go back into the days, we might not have had it. Okay, but I think like you said, education, exposure, people travel, they realize how people are raising their kids out there. So they are trying their best, but it could be better.
Yeah.
So I feel that it's a realization that as a father, you are the God figure in the house. You are like more of the negotiator. You can solve issues in the house. You know, men, when you are crying out to us, that's what a lot of women don't understand. And a lot of men too do not understand the women. Some women want to just nag. They don't want solutions. They just want to talk about the issue. And I went there and the woman stepped on my toe. And then I bought the tomatoes 5 cedis, even though it was supposed to be 10 cedis, a whole lot of things. But we as men, whilst you are talking, we want a solution. So should I go and beat the woman? You are complaining. Or what should I do about the issue you get the point I'm making? And it's just our nature, okay? So when we imbibe that into our young men, it makes them ready for the task ahead, always looking for solutions. Because without solutions, the world will be in chaos. Okay, so fathers, I feel there's a lot more work to be done if we want our children to continue what we are trying to do now, or what maybe some of our fathers were not able to do. There's a lot more work.
Yeah.
It means growing a bigger heart. It means reading more about, how to raise your boys. Yes,
yeah.
fatherhood and all that. It's not just the donation of water to make the children, but also being a part of their lives. Yeah, so it's good. I had a very awesome experience in recent years where I had an opportunity of sitting with my dad, because I didn't get that opportunity when I was growing up. Yeah. So let's say after 38 years, the first time I had like that conversation, and even as an adult, I felt very good.
Wow.
Because I felt like asking him to guide me on some issues, even though I've tried to figure them out.
Yeah.
But it sounded good when he said it, that you can do this. It sounded very good. I'm like, oh, I've got someone who can actually guide me. So I feel whenever I do that to my kids, that's the same feeling I'm giving them without even knowing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I encourage fathers to do a lot more work
Okay.
with
I
their
want us to
kids.
look at mothers. I'm not a mother yet. I don't know when I will be. I don't understand the struggles of motherhood.
Next year. Amen. Amen.
Prophesy. I'm not married yet. Next year is too close.
But you can marry, and then how
Hey.
it takes 1 second to get pregnant.
Hey, I should just marry now and give birth by next year. Anyways, so I don't understand the struggles of motherhood. I may have an idea, but I would not really understand. But sometimes I'm laying this foundation because there have been few times that I have spoken about this issue and people are come at me with that when I say that they shouldn't turn their kids against their fathers.
Yeah.
Whatever relationship you had with a man is quite different from the relationship the child should have with a father. So if I am with a man that things ended badly between us, I don't even think that the children should even know into details.
Yeah.
Maybe until they are even like after 18 or 20 thereabout, just say, oh, it couldn't work out or something. But I see people say the worst things about the men.
Yes.
And the children actually grow to hate their fathers.
Yes.
There was this TV program I watched where the woman said that her relationship didn't work with a man because of the daughter.
Okay.
Because the mother had put in her mind that any woman or that was coming was the reason why the father left her mother.
Yeah.
So she was creating problems.
Yeah.
For her, and luckily she wasn't the only one. The man couldn't have up to even 3 relations. Any girl that comes, that issue would happen. How can mothers, especially with the young girls coming up, handle conflicts with our partners and not involve the kids? Even if you are even married, it's better you're the same house, but especially when you are staying, maybe people are just co-parenting, and just like you hear very weird.
Yeah.
They avoid letting their kids even talk to their fathers on phone, and it's wrong. What can mothers do?
Yeah. So, as human, in our sinful nature, or the evil seed that is in us, makes it very difficult to forgive. So, it's the lack of forgiveness that. So, I'm saying that because I don't want to sound biased and say the men didn't do anything. Yeah, some of the men did something.
Yes.
But you see, if you don't have the Spirit of God in you, it becomes witchcraft.
Yeah.
And most women are prone to that particular witchcraft you just spoke about. I'm not saying general witchcraft, that particular one. It's like, it's just natural for a woman to just focus on the wrongs of the man, especially when they split. So you see single women, the things they tell their kids about their dads, unless the kid grows up. I have had an experience where some people, not me, it's not my story, but when the gentleman grew up and had the interactions with the father, there was a story, okay? And the mother was totally wrong in that story about a lot of things. Yeah, the man was also wrong, but there were so when the guy heard the stories, he was like, oh, all this while, I've been hating my father for no reason. Because when they are telling the stories, they will never say that what they did before the man did.
Wrong, yeah.
So yeah, I'm begging women, I mean mothers who have children with, whether you like it or not, the boy or the girl will grow up and look for the father. So stop it. I have encouraged single women, let the kid go and see the dad.
Yes.
They're like, no, I can't do it. I hate him. I said, no, you are making a big mistake. This girl will grow up, this guy will grow up, and would still want to have a thing with the dad, okay? And then by then, you would have polluted the mind so much that the person is in a confused state.
Yeah.
So the earlier, the better, okay? Yeah, the man is human, he has done wrong, but he could be forgiven. And without you, he can still have a very beautiful relationship with the child. Yeah, so I think you guys should do something about that.
Yeah, because sometimes I look at those. I remember in before COVID, 2019 thereabout, a young girl wrote, hey, something, I have to go back to that thing, talk to Martha Inspire. So I will ask you to write a letter to me. Don't add your name if you're not comfortable to.
Yeah.
Then in a sitting, I'll read the letter and I'll give an advice to it. A 9-year-old girl wrote me a letter. And she said that her mom had prevented her from talking to their dad even on the phone. Sometimes she'll be there and like she'll persist that this is the father, and then the mother will say, I've sent her, she's not here. Or once the call comes, she said that like she's moving. She was smart enough. Then she was like, Auntie, maybe I can be wrong, but there are some calls the mother receives in her presence. But some the mother takes out. And for a very long time, she hasn't seen her father.
That's very sad.
Yeah. So I'm just in mind. So sometimes when we talk about these things, not that because we may not have biologically had children, but some of us, I can say that have even had more children and even been with more children. I remember on a Friday, I did something and the kids almost pounced on me today. I mean, on that day, I went out and most of them were playing Ludo and playing ball. And I just saw 3 kids who were just learning. They were spelling words. I just came into my office, took big packs of Yon Vita. I went and gave them. Everybody ran. It was like, but I said, but you are playing. So I said, I'll give to those who are reading. And I just have good conversations with them, just like some 5-10 minutes. And I felt so good. And sometimes I realize that kids just want to feel loved. So sometimes you may be angry, but try as much as possible not to be angry with their fathers. Of course, we need the father's support. Your final words.
All right. So my final words is that we cannot overemphasize the role of men or fathers in the lives of the young men or boys as they grow. And just like we have a team where the coach is on the touchline and always shouting, pass the ball to this person. That's the same thing these young men they need from us as men, as grown men. Because it's our experiences that would make training them very real. So whenever we get the opportunity to tell them, you know, when I was in class 4, this is what I did. When I was in JSS, this is what I did. When I was in the university, this is what I did. Then it makes it easy for them to get a sense of what we are talking about. Most of the times, from a mother to a son, the boy would not really get the import of the message because the mother has never felt the way a man feels before. So it's easier for me to tell my son that, you know, when I was crashing on your mother, this is the way I felt. He can relate better than the mother saying the reverse. So we should, I encourage all of us to come on board, and especially, and your biological kids are not the only kids you have. Okay, for me, the kids I have, the boys I have, they are my kids. I love them. There are some of them who are even better behaved than even my kids. Okay, and I love them. So don't just focus on only yours. When you go around, you see some people you can talk to, some young people you can talk to and guide them. I think you should do that. Those are my final words.
Guide every young person. You know what I said? I can't wait when I'm like 100 years old. And all my children would come together, and I would just tell God, I thank you for. I know that one day these boys, now they may not really understand the value and all that, but as all of you come in to mentor them, they may be able to really remember. Thank you so much for being our regular mentor.
Thank you too.
And then a time will come, you just be there one of them will see you and say, "Hey, Mr.
Yeah.
Marvin,"
Yeah.
and say, "Collect $10,000."
Amen. Oh, amen.
It has been great on the Reflection Show. Thank you so much to Twillium for supporting us, and to Savannah Opticals Eye Care, Tamale Top Floor, Sabon Kudi Plaza, opposite VRA main office on the Stanbic Bank, and also they are in Yendi on the Municipal Assembly Road of the Pentecost Church Junction. So make sure that anytime you want to check your eyes, you go to Savannah Opticals.
So that's where I got my
Okay.
my nice glasses from.
Hey, Dr. Daddy, I'm coming for mine. So Savannah Opticals, thank you so much for all you do for us, and all you do for I know a lot of people that have very good reviews of Savannah Opticals.
Sure.
And to everyone watching us, make sure that your young boys are really empowered. And if you are in Tamale and you want us to empower your young boy, let them come to our youth center. And especially on Thursdays, we have that specific session. And if you're a young person who is watching us, come, you will see Mr. Marvin, you interact with him one-on-one. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Martha Inspires. Have a good night.